So I want to start by telling you something about the movie, about Sly Lives, which I'm quite sure was not intentional.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents met in San Francisco in the mid to late 60s.
Okay.
So when the movie starts and I'm seeing this footage of that time and place, it was like seeing the world that made me. And it was so moving. And then to see, how he came up in that time, in that culture, and how the music that he starts making is it really was like music is history for me personally. I
Right.
just wanted to really thank you for that. And it also made me think my dad died. He died when I was small. My mom just recently passed away.
Right.
And I'm going through that thing where you think about all the questions you never asked and the stories you never learned. And I was just thinking it's such a rare thing that you really were able to answer the questions and capture the story just in time before he died, because he died 6 months after the movie came out.
We sort of treated Sly posthumously, although he was still with us. But the whole point of it, especially with Vernon Reid, A Living Color, having the last quote, which is, he says, like, Sly lives. There's also a quote that we actually wound up taking out. So in the beginning, I believe that's one of Maria Shriver's very first interviews when she's like 22 years old. There's a moment where she is asking him about his multitasking. This is a guy who was not even just a radio DJ, but like, I mean, if you're familiar with Robin Williams's character in Good Morning Vietnam, like Sly was way ahead of what we now see the norm. Like when every town has their like morning zoo. Hey, shock, like all these different voices and animal noises and like Sly was making his own commercials, occasionally singing along with the record because he likes this piano part better. Like he would actually play along with the records. And Shriver asks him, like, okay, so, you were band leader for Sonny and Cher show when they came to town, and you were doing radio, and then you were like directing your choir at church, and then working with your father and your brothers, like all these things. And she was like, are you just, were you doing that just to survive, like just to make money? And he thought about it and said, well, no, I wasn't doing it to survive. I did it to live.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the life I wanted to live. And so it was a profound statement. And so also with Vernon Reid saying that Sly continues to live beyond his physical state. There was always discussion on like, okay, this seems like this is a tribute film for someone who's passed away, even though we know he's alive. But we always knew that it could be any moment.
Mm-hmm.
But we decided to stick to our guns and present it the way we did.
So what was the biggest question about Sly that got answered for you in the making of the movie?
So to know me is to know that I'm often in the passenger seat of what I will say. Well, I say the lucky seat in the house, but like history's greatest performers, the people that I'm associated with. And the one thing that most of those people have in common is their the tendency to not see it through. And so for me, I always had a suspicion that Sly was the first domino in a long line of self-sabotage dominoes that will happen in the music industry. Like literally, if it's not death or jail or tardiness or just some sort of undesirable destination, I wanted to answer the question. Like, to me, it's not, this is my version of like the whole 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong. Like, This is an epidemic, a creative epidemic that I don't think the world's aware of.
Because you saw how easy it is for that to happen?
Um, well, here's the funny way that life works. So as I'm uncovering and dissecting Sly's life and his story and his success, um, I also started my own parallel journey from a hip hop lens. You're supposed to come out the gate. You're supposed to come out the gate on top, you know.
Yeah.
And then the spiral down happens like after your second album or your third
Okay.
album. So I'm in a position where the story of the roots is almost akin to like the tortoise and the hare,
Mhm.
like a very slow inch a year uh meeting of of getting to the goal. And so it's just unprecedented for someone to arrive in their 50s, but then when you get the success, and I guess people can say like, okay, well, getting the Oscar was, yes, it was definitely one of the most life-changing, like nothing will ever describe the feeling of 24 hours after that achievement. Just the roller coaster
Yeah, the roller coaster.
effect of when you get a lottery ticket or a golden ticket, um is one of the most overwhelming things that can happen to you. And similar to Sly, in the beginning was like, great, like, oh man, this is fun. But then maybe like 7, 8 months later, like I was actually at a point where I was praying like for it to all stop. Because
Yeah.
there's just a level of guilt you feel every time that you get an accolade or you experience something alone that no one else around you is experiencing. And that's what Sly had to deal with. Like, and it's a very isolating, very lonely feeling, you know? Yeah, I mean, I will say that doing that Sly doc while also living that everything that he went through, like that sort of thing it wasn't lost on me.
So the burden of Black genius, and that's being explored in the context of race and fame and pressure and all the things that you're talking about right now. I think what I came away with the most, and I'm actually hearing you echo it when you're talking about your own experience, is simply that we live at the mercy of our time.
Mm-hmm.
We're born when we're born, and we have no control, and we have no idea what's going to happen. But so this question of the burden of genius or creativity or whatever you want to call it, this is on my mind now because we are living in really tricky times. And so the responsibility to document that or, somehow articulate it or even just travel with it, it's a big question. And I was actually wondering how you are responding to that as a storyteller and as a musician. How are you connecting with?
People always told me, from people, therapists, whoever, people with wisdom told me like, okay, you got to live in the present, which I think previous to this year, I didn't know how much I would just shrug it off like, yeah, 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 sure. But the thing is like when you like, I definitely was a fight or flight person, avoiding school bullies, avoiding neighborhood bullies. I grew up in the crack 80s, cousins, best friends, like the whole neighborhood of like 33 neighborhood kids I know. I think I'm one of like 6 left, either living or not in jail or strung out, whatever. So that said, um, that puts you in a never again mode. So for me, my thing was like, well, okay, 1, I got to get out of this neighborhood. 2, I got to get my family out this neighborhood. 3, I got to get my family, me and my best friend and my band out of this neighborhood and their families and our staff and that. Like, so when you're in that mode of fight or flight, your whatever trauma in your past will make you just worry about the future. And as a result, um, you know, like right now, pretty much I have to start off every morning, and this morning's no exception. Like, okay, like literally I have to declare whatever day this is. This is the best July 31st of 2025. This is the best September 8th, 2020. I have to do that. And yes, affirmations in the beginning were very silly to me. Someone gave me an exercise to do, which is basically like first 10 minutes of me waking up in the morning. I have to walk to the mirror and just talk to myself. I have to reprogram myself from like 5 decades of the thinking the other way.
You do a really masterful job in the movie. I think it's like 5 minutes maybe of showing what the 60s and 70s is, like the violence and the, the mayhem and the terror. And then so in that same interview, I think Maria Shriver asks Sly if this is making it harder or easier for him to make music. And he says it makes it easy because it makes you want to work. It makes you want to find something to say. And I thought that was really interesting because I feel like right now artists are kind of on all sides of that.
I would have been running for the hills.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Or saying, no, my job is just to be an entertainer. No, thank you.
And I realized that it's easier when you have less to lose. I mean, it's easier to just be straight up and say the truth. Whereas now it's harder than ever. It's kind of a every day is almost a landmine kind of navigation for a lot of people. But this is a one day at a time thing, and I want people to know the difference between, especially now with social media.
Yes.
The temptation to be kind of performative in your activism is kind of eye-rolly to me. Like, I think this should be a sincere thing, not a, I don't want to be dismissive, like, oh, you're just saying that for clout points or whatever. But I mean, there's a difference between performative activism and genuine activism. And so, yeah, but at the time, Sly was in a period in which that's what really made him unique. Of all of the gifts that Sly Stone had, kind of, I guess the arrival of Bob Dylan was really an eye opener for a lot of people, especially with Black artists. Marvin Gaye wanted to retire from music when Tammy Terrell died in his arms in 1968, and he wasn't thinking about making any more music. And somehow, like, the music of Bob Dylan said, like, whoa, like, I could use my voice to say something besides "I love you, babe." And so that sparks him, but also, like, that sparks off Sly Stone using his pulpit, his pen as a confessional. For Sly, like, all of his lyrics were confessional lyrics, and like, he really had no space in his life for banal minutia. Like, it when he said something, it was important for you to catch it. That's how good he was at writing.
Yeah. And you have the feeling too that the messages that he's choosing are also affirming his own choices, right? Because he's got this multiracial band with men and women, and so then when he writes a song that's saying we can all get along, we all stand together. That's also like, look, I'm okay.
There's kind of one question I wish I could have gotten out of him. I know that he was a provocateur, and I always wondered, did he create this intersectional, interracial band as an act of love, of like, hey, let's all whatever the whatever we think of what hippies are in the Bay Area, or was he trying to be a provocateur? Like, did he know this is going to ruffle feathers and that sort of thing? Because in early performances, his drummer would say like, "We be in the blackest houses ever," and just Greg Rico's white guy, and he would tell Greg like, "Go out there by yourself and just start drumming." And the idea of like a black band with a white drummer, like you better be good if you're the
Yeah.
white drummer in a black band. And he would just send Greg out there by himself, like, you know, and I'm like, well, what was it to rattle you or that sort of thing? He's like, that's what Sly was. Like he always wanted to press buttons.
Yeah.
So that's what he was good at, pressing buttons.
So there were many sad things about Sly's life.
Yeah.
To me, I think the most heartbreaking thing is that he is innovating. He's making all this new stuff. He's like channeling the revolution, and then the revolution passes him by, and he feels obsolete, and people forget. And then there's that moment where Mark Anthony Neal says that just when like young people are picking up something from the past, the makers of that music aren't even aware of that, and they think they've got to do something new. And it just made me think how fast that goes and how fast things change, and how, I mean, it's not even a question of generation to generation. It's within a generation. What you have invented that's brand new is now old. And that made me sad. And I wonder if you think that timeline is changing. Is that getting even faster?
Maybe the first 4 years or 5 years of the Tonight Show, when we used to have people sit in with the Roots. And then I'll mention a song like, hey, well, can we do da-da-da-da as well? And they're like, why the hell do you want to do that song? And I'm like, wait, are you unaware that this has been like a sample reference for this song, or this might be trending on TikTok right now and you're unaware of it? And, you know, I think an artist is only as good as their circle of 7 that surrounds them. I know that there's this reputation where like people think I'm the snobby, know-it-all, can't tell me nothing person, but I actually think the opposite. I think I'm just an open container of space, wanting information to learn about. Like I still feel like I'm a student, not the wise sage that people want me to be. Like I'm the person that's still like, hey, teach me about. I want to learn something. Like I get a rush when I hear a new song that is good, you know. So
give it another 50 years and then you can be the wise sage. But so I think when we are examining history, whether you're making a film or writing a book or whatever research and scholarship we're doing,
right.
We're also rescanning history and reassessing history. And that means that we're keeping it alive and also accountable.
Yeah.
And I think that all of this stuff is so important because the relationship of past to present, I don't know, especially what we're living through, I feel like it's so important to understand how these things connect and, you know, what's happened before and what is an
Or how
echo
do we
or
get
what is,
here?
and what's a sample? Like,
Right.
you know, metaphorically, what
Yeah.
is just a sample of something that's already happened?
You know, so there's a key person in the Roots lore. His name was Richard Nichols, and he was our George Martin. And there was a period, especially like in 96, 97, when kind of the second generation of music was experiencing their, you know, hey, 20th anniversary of Songs in the Key of Life, 20th anniversary of the, you know, Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, 25th anniversary of Thriller. Like, and he was like, this is so dangerous. And I was like, well, what's so dangerous about it? And he says that, you know, associative memories, like music as associative memory, there's a danger to revisiting and trying to keep alive a flame or a moment, because, and he said that music's purpose, the reason why music is classic to you, is only because it's highlighting the best time of your life. You know, if I hear Planet Rock by Africa Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force, I'm thinking of like, wow, what cherry water ice used to taste like on my grandmom's block. And so it's almost like there's memories are good, but being stuck on memories and not like the magic spot is here right now, which is really hypocritical for me to say because one, I'm in a music genre that relies on past derivative references,
Mhm.
and I'm a documentary
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
filmmaker. So it's like I'm like, kids, live in the present, but also
But also.
let me cash in on the past first before
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's important, but there's also a danger. And, to really bring it home full circle, air quote,
Mhm.
um, being stuck in the past kind of has us where we are right now. So
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're
we
not
have to
wrong.
live in the present.
Yeah.
And what's happening right now, this moment, is what's happening. Like what happened back then, that's not the glory days. The glory days are now.
Yeah.